welcome to the Awesome Ocean Life Beaded Animal Pal tutorial by the Wicomico County Libraries. My name is Miss Vicky, and I'm here to show you step-by-step how to do all three of the animals in the Awesome Ocean Life Beaded Animal Pal bag. If you got a bag from your Take and Make, you should have one that looks a little bit like this. There will be paper instructions included, so you can follow along with that as well. Each kit should have a variety of different colored beads, a length of cord, which you can cut to whichever length you need, and there should be 2 keychain attachments, little keychain metal, here we are, in there as well. When I start, we'll zoom in so you'll be able to see a little better. So if you need one, we are not letting, at this point, you choose which kit you get. It's going to be whatever we have. You'll get one of the 3. There's Ocean Life, Wriggling Reptiles, and Marvelous Mammals. On YouTube, our channel will also have those videos up as well. So if you got one of the other 2, you can go ahead and find a different video. I'm going to include a timestamp on the video description down below. That's going to show you where to find each individual animal. So if you pick a certain one, you can just skip right to the tutorial. You don't have to watch the entire thing to find one animal. So the ones that are included in the kit for Awesome Ocean Life is an octopus. It's Ollie the octopus. It's got 8 legs. We'll have the shark, and he's going to even have little fins, and those are a little tricky, so make sure you watch the video. It's good. Shark, and then we'll also have Shell the sea turtle. And while I do these beaded animal buddies, I'm going to also be talking about some fun facts that I found about the various animals, because it's not as super exciting to watch me just string beads for half an hour. So we'll go over some information, so you might even learn something today, whether you like it or not. So let's get started. The first one I've chosen to do in no particular order is the octopus. This is Ollie the octopus. It's going to have 8 legs, and it looks pretty cool. So to get started, the first thing I found was that I needed a place to anchor my project, because you need to put a little bit of tension on it. So if you have a really close friend, you could always tie a cord around their string around their toes and use their feet. But if you don't have a really good friend who's going to let you do that, I found a really great way to do that would be, I'm going to take some of the extra cord, you'll have probably a little bit of extra, lay it on the table, and I took some sturdy tape. I just have some packing tape here, just a little bit of tape, or you can tie it to a bed frame. You can tie it to a doorknob, as long as, you know, it's not a door that's being used. A closet door works best. But in my case, I'm just going to tape this cord to the table as far away from me as I can reach, so that I have plenty of space to work with. And what I'm left with is this loop. So what I'll do is I'll grab one of my little keychain doodads, and I'm just going to hook it on. All right, so now we have our anchor point, and that should stay. Hopefully that stays. All right. Instead of using the cord that's included in the kit, because we don't have all that much of it, I'm going to use just some cord that I found at Walmart for demonstration purposes. So the first thing you'll notice is that we're going to need to know how much cordage or cord we need. And I printed this one out a little bigger because it needed it. Ollie the octopus takes 4 yards of cord and 115 blue or green beads. I know the picture is purple, but it's blue. Blue or green beads, and then we'll also need some, well, we can use white ones for the eyes for this one, because if you can tell, I did this one black, and you can't really tell where his eyes are, so we're going to do white this time, because it's going to be a little easier to see. You can go over there, buddy. So I have a yardstick. If you have a ruler and that's all you have, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you multiply it by 3. So it says 4 yards of cord, which means 12 feet. So I'm going to measure this out 4 times. And I did find that when I did my example, I had a little extra left over. So if you wanted to do 3.5 yards, that would probably be fine. 1. Oh, I made a mess. I got it all types of tangled up over here. 2, 3. What in the world is happening over here? 4. So then what you need to do is grab a pair of, just decent, good scissors. You don't need to use super special ones. These are pretty serious, but craft scissors work just fine too. So once we have that measured out, we can put our yardstick away, or your, ruler away, or whatever. Pull it not in effects. So I also recommend a bowl or some kind of thing that you can put the beads in, because they do tend to roll. They are round, and they will be everywhere. Even with a bowl, they can still be everywhere. There's a bead stuck in here. All right. So the beads that you'll get in the kit are going to look like this. So you'll have a nice little variety of oceany. I went for oceany colors, yellow, no, they're white, gray, blue, and green. So they're a nice variety there. So you can pick whichever one you want. You can either pick out your colors ahead of time, or you can just go a little crazy and pick them at random. That's fun too. That is totally up to you and your personal preference and how you like to do it. So to get started, as with every animal we do, you're going to you fold it in half, and you're going to hold the other ends roughly even, so they're about the same. And then you're going to end up with a loop up here. So this loop will go through your keychain, just right like that. And what you end up with is a loop on this side and your end over here. Take your loop, open it up with 2 fingers, and then just pinch the remaining string, and then pull through carefully, because you don't want to accidentally pull it, so it's one side end up being longer than the other. And then you'll just stuck with a little, I guess it's a slip knot or some kind of half hitch knot. If you're inclined to do knots, I think that's what it's called. So in this pattern, what you'll see is it'll start at the top. Let me turn it up right so you can see it. There's your top little knot here. And then you're going to bring it down, and you're going to run it through. It says 5 beads. What I found doing my example, my demonstration, was that I actually wanted to start with slightly smaller. If you do 5, it tends to look a little like, it tends to collapse on itself. So what I did was I started with 3 first, and then I went to 5. The reason they start with 5 is because they want to make it look round. I'm doing bunny rabbit quotations here. But it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I think it looks just fine. It's a little more pointy, but I think it'll work. So we're going to start with, and we'll just leave this one right here so you can follow along with me. Right here's the instructions. And you should have one of these as well in your kit. So let's start with blue. Again, you don't necessarily have to count them out if you don't want to. I like to pattern mine and make them pretty. So what I'll do is I'll do 3, and we'll do, let's see, we'll do blue and gray for my theme, because I have, or pearl or something like that. So because we have lots of different, and each kit's going to have slightly different numbers of beads, because we kind of had to freestyle a little bit at some point. So to do your bead string, and this is how it is for pretty much every line unless otherwise indicated, you're going to string them on one end, and I'm just doing gray in the middle and blue on the outside, on the one, and you're going to pull it all the way out. So then, what you'll do is you will come in from the other side. Okay, you need to get out of the way. You're in the way. And sometimes talking to your project does help. If nothing else, it makes you feel better. Okay, so you've got the end here. Going to go the opposite direction than you did before. So you'll be going like that through the beads. Ah, no, back on the boat. There we go. Oh, you didn't run away. Okay. So there we have the first row. Like I said, this is going to be pretty much the same story for the entirety of the animal until we get to his legs. And that gets a little tricky, but it's not too bad. So let's start with row 2. Row 2 is row 1. It's going to be 5 beads, and because I want to stay with a pattern, you can do whatever pattern you like. There is absolutely no wrong way to do this. You can make your octopus completely white if you like, because there are some albino octopus out there. That could be fine. So we'll do a blue on the outside and gray on the inside like that. And I like to line mine up before I string them so that I have a better idea of what order to put them in, just because that's how I run. That's how I work. So it's up to you. You can do whatever you like. This is a creativity project. The only thing you have to actually do a certain way is the mechanics of how to string the beads. The patterning is completely up to you and what you think your animal should look like. So while I was working on this project, I found some really cool information and really cool facts about octopus. Now, did you know that the word octopi is actually not the plural? The actual plural, based on its Greek name, is octopuses. Although it is fun to say octopi. But because of the Greek origin of the name, meaning 8 legs, octo, it is actually octopuses, because English, and apparently Greek. All right, so your first few rows tend to get a little wonky just because you're just starting out and you haven't really established your structure. And that's okay, because it's gonna look a little goofy. Like you said, let me see, this one looks fine, but it started out like this, I promise. So just stay with it, and make sure you keep it flat. I like to have it on a flat surface when I work. That's part of the reason why I did it this way. Because on a flat surface, I can make sure it stays flat. If you have it hanging, you can and accidentally get it wonky. So, octopuses, are among some of the oldest animals on Earth. In fact, the oldest fossil, the next row is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. The oldest fossil found for an octopus dates back 296 million years ago, which means that octopus are around at the same time as dinosaurs, which is really, really cool that they've actually outlived them. So, they are old. And actually, all 3 animals in the bag, in the kit that you can do with this particular project are in that same very, very old category. They are all some of the oldest animals on Earth. Obviously, each individual one only lives a certain amount of time. But as a species, they've been around for quite some time, which is kind of cool. Okay. Did you know that octopuses have 3 hearts? 3. Even the Time Lords don't have anything on that. Ask your parents. 2 of the hearts actually solely operate to pump water to the octopus gills to help it breathe. And the other one, the third one, pumps blood to the organs, just like your heart does for you, which is kind of cool. Take that, doctor. So octopuses are surprisingly smart. Aristotle, he's a Greek philosopher way back in the day, he actually thought octopi were stupid. He even said so in some of his writing. But we have since learned that octopuses can solve mazes, they can remember solutions, and they can, hang on. They've been known to take things apart just for fun, and they even have distinct personalities, so that's kind of fun, like an octopus pet. Now, octopuses actually also have, what's the next one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Have separate nervous systems for their legs, so each leg has its own nervous system, and nervous systems control the movement of the octopus's arms. So octopus, even if it loses its arms, can still move. The arms will still move even when they're detached from the body, which has got to be a little bit eerie, I'm sure. A little bit creepy, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And that means also that they have 8 arms, and these 2 can be opening up, dinner. These 2 can be feeling along to make sure they're not going to trip over anything, and the other 2 can just be hanging out. So their arms all have their own, they can do their own thing independently, which is kind of neat. Otherwise, I can't even chew gum and walk at the same time, so good job, octopus. Octopus ink. You've probably heard that octopuses use ink to hide or run away from their predators, so any animal that's trying to eat them. In the wild, octopus have some various predators, or someone who's an animal is going to try to eat them. Sharks, dolphins, things like that. So to get away, a lot of times they will spray ink that they make as a defense mechanism, which is really cool. But did you know that octopus ink also contains a compound called tyrosinase, which actually can cause eye irritation in humans and in the animals that are trying to chase them. Excuse me. So they can actually an octopus, if an octopus deploys its ink, and he doesn't get out of the way in time, the octopus can actually get injured because, he gets injured by his own weapon. I believe the phrase is hoisted by your own petard. All right, so I need 9 now, and I think I'm actually keeping it gray. So what I'll do is I'll use black eyes instead of white. Like I said, you can do whatever tickles your fancy. Gray. I'll need 3 gray. 2. And then 2 more blue. There we go. Anyway, like I said, I like to lay mine out first, but you do you. Octopus actually have copper-based blood. You and I, and most mammals, have iron-based blood. And this means that iron, when it oxidizes, will be red or burnt rusty color. Whereas copper, if you've ever seen a copper penny that got left outside or stuck in something wet, it turns blue, which means they actually end up having blue blood. Horseshoe crabs and octopuses both do this. If you ever go down to Assateague and check out the horseshoe crabs at the exhibit, they'll tell you all about their, it's called the hemocyanin, and that's the word for it. Hemocyanin means they have blue blood. And it's really neat because it's just something fun that makes it, makes them unique. So we are almost to the point. We've got their eyes on, so we're almost to the point we're going to start the legs. I'm also out of fun octopus facts. So if you can think of any octopus facts that I missed, go ahead and put that in the comment section with an adult supervision and approval and permission, of course, because you don't want you doing this by yourself. Okay, there is his eyeballs. So now we're going to do, the next row is second verse, same as first. It's 9, so we'll need, I think I'm going to make his legs a different color, just because. I like these pearlescent white ones, but, okay, so we need 5 gray, and 2 blue. Okay. So this next row is 9. We'll string it on. And we might just have to do a skip the boring portion where you just watch me string on the legs, because once you get the first one down, the rest of them are all pretty much same, second verse, same as the first type deal. So that might be through the movie magic editing. But right now, we'll get this last row of 9 on for our octopus Ollie. Maybe once I find the end. Now, when you first start out, you may notice that the string is awful long, and you have to fight it sometimes to get the end. It gets better as you get farther along and the string gets a little shorter. Like I said, this particular pattern that I found, this one it actually is giving the information they give you. They want you to have way more cord than you actually need, because I got to the end of this one and I had an extra, I don't know, probably 2 feet. It's not quite a yard. If you end up only having 3.5 feet because you used more than you thought you would on the shark, that's absolutely fine. So there's 9. So now we're going to go down to this row. So this one where we start the legs, if you can see the legs. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we'll hit the legs. So we'll get 7 more, and we'll do the same 3 in the middle, 2 on the outside. Again, this is not a pattern you have to follow. You can totally use whatever colors you want. You can make your octopus hot pink or purple like this guy. Up to you. I mean, if you had beads like that. And the great thing about these projects is, at least that I think, is that these materials are super easy to find and they are rather inexpensive to purchase. I think Hobby Lobby has bags of 500 beads for $2 and sometimes they're on sale for $1 because that's when I found them. So it can be a fairly inexpensive craft project. The gimp cord, the little plastic lacing that we use, is super inexpensive as far as craft projects go. As someone who knits for fun, yarn's expensive, yo. These are actually really, really inexpensive. So, if you wanted to find other patterns, Pinterest is chock full of them. I actually found most of the patterns except for the octopus. I found it on a very old Xeroxed paper I found in the garage from my mother was a teacher, and she had this as a project for one of her kids, some of her children. And I found that, and I thought that'd be a really fun project. So they're everywhere. They've been around forever. This is something that I used to do in middle school and high school. You either made these or you used gimp cord to make bracelets. Ask a grown-up. They probably remember. Ooh, we're on to the legs now. So I'm going to make Ollie's legs. I'm going to make them pearly white because I like the pearly shiny color. Let me see if I can get it up here for you. Most of your kits should have a white bead, and I think most of them actually have this pearlescent white, which is nice, and it's really nice for an ocean animal because a lot of ocean animals are white and shiny as part of their camouflage, actually. A lot of animals are white on the bottom in the ocean because if you are a predator looking up and the animal that's swimming above you is white on the bottom, they blend in with the white that you can see from the sun coming down. So it's a really great camouflage tactic, which is why a lot of your fish and things are white on the bottom and gray or blue on top, because that way looking down, they blend in with the blue at the bottom of the ocean. And if you're looking up, they blend in with the white of the sky. Fun fact. Like I said, you're going to learn stuff whether you want to or not. So each leg has 7 beads. And they're actually independent, so I'm going to take one at a time. One cord, not both this time. This is where it gets a little bit different. It's still not super complicated, but it's definitely a little different, so pay attention, as long as you can see. Here we go. So I'm going to string on 7 beads, that's 8, because the pattern calls for 7. And again, you can always follow this pattern. The way the cord runs is easy enough to follow. Like I said, also ask a grown-up. You more than likely know a grown-up who did these when they were children, your age, or maybe a little older, because we didn't have as much access to the internet. We had to make our own fun, and sometimes that meant we had to do this. So what we do with this is you're going to take your cord that you just ran through, separate one bead, this last bead, and you're going to not run the cord back through that because you need something for it to hang on to. But you're going to run the cord straight through the rest of the beads on the arm. And it's going to take some fiddling. Sometimes you're going to have the cord come out early because it's bent, and that's fine. So once you get it through, make sure it doesn't go through the longer, stop, don't run away, the longer part. And again, you can always snug it down later like that. Oh no. And I found this happen too, is you got to be careful when you're running this last bead because it'll actually lock. So if you do it a little looser, the legs will be a little floppier. So if you don't run it quite so tight to this part, your legs will be a little floppier. I did mine a little on the snug side, so my legs kind of like stay out like this. But if you wanted to make it a little looser, you could, and it would kind of hang a little better. It's up to you. So now we're going to do again, second verse, same as the first. We're going to take 7 pearl beads. And maybe we'll do 2 of his legs a different color just to make it different, just to make it fun. Or I could alternate white, blue, white, green, whatever. We'll figure it out. So the second verse, same as the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I gotta make sure I stay on camera. All right, so we run this all the way up. And again, we're gonna make it a little bit looser than my first one just to see, so we can demonstrate the difference. And then we're going to run this cord. I don't know why I chose yellow. Yellow is so hard to see. All the way through. And try your best to keep it closer to the octopus's body because pulling it back all the way through is a big old pain in the rear. Okay. So, sometimes it gets a little twisted and that's okay, easy enough to fix. So this is out here. Yes, perfect. So now we've got that on there, but we definitely need to snug it down a little because it is a little bit too loose. So a lot of this is just fiddling around with it, figuring out what works. There we go. I think that's just about right. So we have, so far, 2 legs. And then here's our body. And again, like it's a little bit pointier than the picture, but I think this one just works better. It doesn't collapse as much because you see this one's already trying to bend in on itself, and it's even worse when you're coming from a smaller top. So, come on. So we're going to go ahead and skip boring, and I'm going to do this on camera so you can see it if you want to watch. But I think we're going to have our editing person make it go faster, and then I'll come back at the very, very end. Okay? See you in a bit. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention what we gotta do is between the legs, otherwise it'll look really goofy. Between the legs, we have to put the rest of his body. So the next row is, that's 7, the next row is 5, so we'll get 5. And we'll just keep doing the same pattern because it's already established. We'll do 5. And this is a standard, you know, run through both ways. Oh, wrong one. Where you'll run through. Oh my gosh, why are you being difficult? I think I'm just trying to be too fancy is what it is. Three beads. And then run it through again. So this will make it so we have another spot for the legs to attach to. I think otherwise it gets a little bit goofy. And it also makes it so that octopus has, you know, more body. And it's not all legs. Although sometimes one might think that an octopus is all legs. They're not. They have all types of brains and nervous systems and hearts. Alright, so that one is where it needs to be. So now we have 5, and then we'll go to the legs. And each time we do a leg, we'll also break off and do 1 row of body until the very end where it's just 2 legs and they hang out together. And if I do it right and don't do it quite so tight, maybe they'll actually flop around like they're supposed to. Alright, so I'll see you when I'm done, guys. on our last leg. Literally. Sorry, that was a bad joke, guys. I can't help it. So, we're on our last leg, and just like all the other ones, you pull it through that last bead and then string it through the others. So when they finish, when they have your pattern, they actually have you bring the cord that's attached to the one leg just through one of these beads. This one right next to it. So, let's see if I can get a little closer to the camera. So here's the end of your leg, and here's the bead. You're going to run the cord running out of the leg just through the one bead. Try not to get the middle bead, because, I mean, nothing really hurts if you do that, but... Alright, so now we have that in there. And we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to start with the string coming out of the bead. This one here, end of your leg. And I like to use different colors because it is easier to see which one's which. And like I said, you have so much extra, honestly. We could probably go 3.5 yards or even 3 yards, but it's always nice to have the extra, just in case. And you can make the octopus's legs longer if you wanted. Maybe they still didn't want to droop real well. Now, let me see if I can adjust. And now take a look at your octopus and see if you need to shift anything around. They do have some, you can move them around a little bit. I probably should have used white eyes for him. So then when you get done, let's see, come on. You're going to take your bottom and see how they come out real close to each other. That's always really good, because then it kind of makes it so it looks nicer at the end. Do a simple overhand knot, snug it tight, and then do another one, basically making a square knot, which is nice and sturdy. If you want it to stay even longer, you are welcome to get a little bit of tacky glue and just dab a little bit of tacky glue right there on that knot. Kind of keep it steady, keep it there. I mean, I've had these guys done for quite some time, and I didn't use glue, and they are coming apart a little bit, so it's something to keep in mind. When you cut off your edge at your ends, give it about 1 inch or so, 1.5 inches, just so that there's nothing that's going to come undone. And there you have it. Release him from his restraints, and Ollie the octopus is done. So you can use this for your backpack or whatever. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our Beaded Animal Pals Awesome Ocean Life. Whether you decided to do the shark, the octopus, or the sea turtle, either way, we hope you had a great time, and I hope you had a lovely experience with it. I hope you learned something about the animals this time around as well. And I hope you join us for other programs later on in the summer reading series. We have lots of fun things coming for you between story times, other craft projects. We have lots of things for teens and kids as well. Don't forget to sign up for the summer reading program Beanstack, where you can fill out and tick offs of game board, a virtual game board, with various activities that will keep you very occupied all summer long. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.